Whatever your reason for going dairy free, maybe you just have an intolerance, or it's possible you're vegan, or whatever your reason, it doesn't mean you have to tolerate boring food. In fact, eating dairy free can be quite delicious, and this is your proof. This is vegan queso. It's obviously dairy free and so delicious. It's one of my favorite recipes to make, and it's so easy and so delicious. In fact, one expert taste tester I know said this is just as good as what you get at a restaurant. Of course, that was my daughter. And so maybe she was wanting the keys to the car. Who knows? But you can be the ultimate guide by making this recipe yourself and deciding for yourself. I think this recipe is so good. I do actually do agree with her that this is a restaurant quality recipe, and it's so easy to make it within minutes. So let's get right to it. We're going to start with vegan cream cheese. I'm using just a plain container of vegan cheese. Make sure it's plain and not flavored. And you can see, what is this? What does that say? 8 ounces? That's around 8 ounces of vegan cream cheese. And what I did is I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, gave it a stir, put it in for another 30 seconds. Now you'll notice that vegan cream cheese has a tendency to want to be clumpy. So you can just kind of use the spoon against the back of the a bowl and just kind of smash that. You can also use get really aggressive and just whisk it and go to town. Another thing is, if you really just are turned off by those clumps, you can absolutely put this in a blender or food processor, or even use just a mixer. Either way, but I'm not too worried about them because we're going to be adding other ingredients. So let's get to that. I'm also going to be adding a can of green chilies. Now, I'm using a 4-ounce can, and I'm using mild. Now, that's kind of a surprise for me because I really like things spicy. All the spice I'm just fine with that. However, a lot of people are not so into spices. So I like to try to make a recipe kind of foundational. So leave it mild and then serve it with a bottle of hot sauce next to it. So sriracha, whatever your favorite hot sauce is, serve that on the side. And that way everybody gets to be happy. Your people who can't handle spice are just as happy as the people who want some spice. So I'm going to pour this in here. And then I'm going to add to that a couple of tablespoons of nutritional yeast flakes. Yum. That gives it a nice cheesy flavor. And here I've got around a teaspoon of garlic powder. I have also made this with onion powder, and it's worked just fine. So I'm just gonna, what I like to do is kind of stir the ingredients at the top first, and then slowly incorporate that melted cream cheese. So now you can see that because there's some texture to those green chilies, having a little bit of texture in the vegan cream cheese doesn't matter. You can see if it was a completely smooth sauce, I could see where you'd want to work all those little clumps out. But because this has some texture already, it's really not that big of a deal. There we go. That's it. This is it. This recipe is finished and ready. If you have just impromptu friends come over, have these ingredients on hand. It's just 4 ingredients: the cream cheese, enchilada, green chilies, nutritional yeast, and garlic powder, and you're done. You're ready to go. Your friends are just going to think you're so, so good that you can just throw together this impromptu dip. But this is it. That's it. And this is perfect. Now, here's my favorite ways to serve it. I love serving it over, you can serve it over nachos, like as a nacho style over tortilla chips, or this is really delicious, spread over a burrito, kind of like enchilada style, or it adds great flavor to things like tacos. So this is a really nice thing to have around, but I also love just serving it with tortilla chips because it has that queso-y flavor and just so good. So you may be asking some questions such as, what if I don't have a microwave? You can use a saucepan to make this. It works just fine. And in fact, I have done that before. You just put the cream cheese in a saucepan and cook it over medium-low heat until it starts to melt. And then once it's melted, just add the other ingredients and stir it all together, and it's done. So that is just a great way to do it. So this recipe is dairy-free. It's gluten-free. It's easy to make. It just crosses off all the boxes. So it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to go on to one of my favorite parts, which is the taste test. So let's just grab a chip here. Now, I also forgot to mention some of my favorite toppings. I love adding some chopped onions on top when I want this to look extra fancy, like as serving it as a dip. So I added some red onions on there, but you can also add chopped green onions. I got a chopped cherry tomato, thanks to Diane's Garden. Thank you very much. And then also, you can add, things like if you've got some herbs, some chopped cilantro on top would be amazing. So let's give this a taste test. Here we go. I like a nice big, I like some sauce with my chips, or is it some chips with my sauce? I don't know, whatever it is, but I like a lot of sauce. Mmm, mmm, that is so good. Oh, the flavor, the nice thing about the nutritional yeast flakes is it gives it a real cheesy flavor. And then add in those green chilies and the cream cheese. Wow, that is amazing. And I can't believe that came together so fast. Wonderful. So sometimes, when you're having your next Mexican night, this would be the thing to serve alongside it. I'm convinced. So I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me, what is your favorite way to serve queso sauce, because I'm always looking for new ways to, change up some recipes. So if you've got a favorite way that you serve queso sauce, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. And if you love today's recipe, I would love it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe for more recipes coming your way every week. And now I'm going to have some more sauce.